Hello, my name is Areeb Zuaiter. I'm the director of Yalla Parkour.
Okay, so tell me a bit, after doing this movie, are you inclined to do parkour?
I mean, parkour had a different or a significant taste and meaning when it's happening in Gaza against, and especially in a context of war and bombings. That's what drew me to the practice to start with. I wouldn't have realized it or noticed it if it weren't happening the way it was happening in front of bombings with people laughing, and it felt as if they're defying this context they're living. Parkour, it's more of jumping obstacles. It's jumping from one point to the other, regardless of what surrounds you, making it making a very determined move in a very complex setup, and having it happen in Gaza was really symbolic in a way. When I saw it happening, there was a shocking meaning for me. The group were doing parkour in this. With bombings happening behind them, one of them was smiling just at me. It gave me this sense of defiance that they have. It also showed me that Gaza is the perfect context for people who want to break free. They have they're like in a closed prison somehow, and they want to overcome that prison, and they found a way to do it, which is parkour. One of the athletes I was interviewing, Abdullah al-Qassab is his name, he was telling me, whenever I jump, I feel I'm breathing, and when I come back to earth, I really sense all of these limitations that surround me. So there is a lot that this sport speaks about when it's performed in Gaza.
In general, how would you describe those guys that you shot in the movie, particularly the protagonist, the Ahmad?
Ahmad has, and all of them, to be honest, they have this sense of humor that you can't challenge it. I mean, whenever something is happening, whenever a war is going through, bombings, no bombings, whatever, they're always laughing. They're always just commenting on what's happening in a very uplifting spirit. And then it's just, they don't want you, for example, to feel sorry for them. It's more of they want you to live with them and to celebrate life somehow. Sometimes I feel it's, with Ahmad specifically, after he left Gaza, the meaning of life took a different form. There is life when you're in your community, and that feeds you and gives you this sense of security. Even the lack of security is what's Gaza is known for. But there is this internal security that happens when you're living in a community that loves you and that you love. With Ahmad, once he got out, I felt he became more like me, living in an alien place where the sense of belonging is somehow lost. I feel I belong where I am now, but it has a totally different meaning when you are living where you were brought up and with the people you were brought up with. So for him, I feel that uplifting spirit just changed somehow. And the sense of humor is still there, but it really took a different shape. There is more of self-reflection in it and more of darkness to it.
But the Palestinians I meet around the world, they all have this sense of humor, very dark, but very, I don't know how to say it. Do you feel that also? Like they laugh with what is happening to them, which is a great reaction, I have to say. I don't know how you feel.
I feel that. I don't know if I feel the same. I mean, with us, it's different depending on your experience and on what you went through, to be honest, how you reflect on that, how you comment on that, and how you contextualize it. When we speak about a sense of humor, it's it comes from really the situation. So once the situation is happening in Gaza, they've endured a lot. I mean, it's war, and they need to live at the same time. So it's more of like lifting the middle finger to something that's been forced on them. You know, it's just whatever. You want to kill us, okay, fine, but we're not gonna surrender by crying or by feeling sad and sorry.
You seem to like those guys very much, right? Or...
I love them. It's beyond like I like these guys. I feel, look, it's for Palestinians. I say it's we feel we're one people. It's we became severed and segregated, and everybody is in a different place. Some of us have no access to the others, but at the end of it, we are one culture. We are one people. We share the same humanity. We share the same feeling. I'm from Nablus, and I found myself in these people who are in Gaza, and then it doesn't matter because we feel we are Palestinians at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And since Ahmad sent you these videos in the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, right? She sent you these videos.
Yes.
So do you sometimes feel that in the movie there were two filmmakers talking? I say that was how I interpreted it at some point.
This is how he introduced himself to me. He told me I do films too. So he introduced first thing. I mean, I was after him as a parkour player, but then when he introduced himself, and I told him I'm a filmmaker too. So it's definitely more of two filmmakers too. And yeah, believe it or not, you're gonna laugh at this. In the filmmaking process, during the filmmaking process, he used to give his opinion a lot. Oh, you took the wrong take. I fell in this one. You didn't pick the perfect one. I didn't pick the perfect one intentionally. I want you to fall in this one. Oh, but we did it perfectly after that. Can you include that? No, I can't. It's not a video for you to get outside of Gaza anymore. It's to tell your story. So he is involved as a filmmaker too in this film, I would like to say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And okay, and in a way, as I understand, after you lost your mother, you felt like your connection to Palestine was diminishing, and in the end, after this film, you felt that this has been cured, let's say, in a way.
Cured is I think it's a perfect solution to the issue. It hasn't been cured, but I'm living with it in a better way. I feel the journey of this film helped me grow and helped me understand the layers that are involved in the Palestinian identity, let's say. Before that, I would say I wasn't mature enough to understand what does it mean to be Palestinian while you're not living there, and having these connections severed, and having your mom, who has been your last connection there, or has been the biggest motivation for you to always go and visit. She's no longer there, and it was a gap for me. How am I going to re-establish that connection again? How will I still feel the same feelings? Will these feelings fade? But I feel with this film, it gave me a lot of answers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So would you say that cinema is a form of therapy on occasion?
I wouldn't like it to become a form of therapy. That's not I wouldn't say that's exactly my answer to your previous question. Mm-hmm. If the purpose of therapy is to heal someone, mm-hmm. I don't think this is what happened to me after doing that film. I found answers for myself, but at the same time I presented questions to the audience, and I want them to find the answers themselves too. I feel this is the role of cinema, is to present the audience with questions, present them with human stories for them to reflect on and to understand and to try to understand too, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. and find answers.
And which one would you say was the most difficult scene to shoot in the film, and also if you have one that is your favorite?
Okay. It's difficult to ask me to pick a favorite mm-hmm. scene. I have many favorites. The most difficult ones to shoot were the ones that I'm involved in, I would say. It has been, but I have to note that it has been so difficult to film remotely while, especially the scenes inside Gaza. I had a dream team. The cinematographer, the main cinematographer, Ibrahim Al-Utla, he's a journalist who lives in Gaza. He was the eyes and ears of the film. And he was very, very patient with me. I would ask him to repeat stuff and he would repeat it, and I would send him references. He will process them and redo the footage based on these references. So it wasn't easy to film in Gaza, but filming myself, I would say, is another, it's taking it to another level. I didn't anticipate myself becoming a character in the film simply because I felt it's not my story, but then I was not able to tell the story without putting my story or doing that juxtaposition between my story and Ahmad's story. So filming myself, I would say, was a bit more difficult.
Did you feel comfortable in front of the camera at some point, or?
I needed to be reminded to be comfortable, but then when we got into it, I understood the importance of me being there as a character. I don't want to call it phobia, but the realization of that the camera is there gradually fizzled.
Okay. And then editing yourself afterwards, how was that?
I mean, it would have been torture if I was editing myself, but thanks to Phil Jandali, he was part of a crucial part in the film crew, and he was like the main editor in the film. So it was a torture for him, I would say, to go over the footage that includes me in it. So he had to deal with it more than I did.
Yeah. So in the end, how much footage did you end up having, and how much time did you spend editing?
Oh, we had a lot of footage, and especially if we would include the material that we got, the raw material we got from the team. The user-generated footage was a rabbit hole in and of itself, and we tried a lot of things with it, and all of it was very sexy and very attractive and says a lot. But we had to do these crucial things, like what we say always, killing your darlings. We would get rid of, and also there were characters that were much more heavily involved in the film, like Jihad Sultan and Abdullah al-Qassab, and we had to make it simpler for us to be able to tell the story, and we had to limit their roles. So there was a lot of stories that we gathered, but at the end of the day, we had to do our picks out of that a huge amount of footage and be very selective.
Okay. And how would you describe being a documentary filmmaker nowadays? Difficult, easy, rewarding?
Very good question. It has it needs another interview, this question. It's rewarding, definitely. Difficult, it's difficult, and it depends on the subject matter and the story itself. In this case, the story was very challenging just because the access was really a challenge. At some point, I wouldn't call it traumatizing now, but the process of it was somehow traumatizing because I would question the process. While I'm in it, I was like, there were so many frustrating moments, especially towards the end when all this happens and we kept losing crew, and one of the parkour athletes also was martyred. So it wasn't easy, and I wondered if this would be the last documentary I would do. But no, after it came out and we started presenting it to the audience, I feel it is very rewarding just to have people listen to the story and discover layers and understand what's going on. It's very fulfilling and rewarding. So no, it's not going to be not going to be the traumatizing documentary that's going to stop me from telling other stories.
Okay, good. And so since you mentioned that, can you tell me about future projects? What are you planning next?
Yes, I mentioned in the film about my dad. So he's been losing his memory, and the most rigid and solid memory he has is the days he lived in Nablus, his coming of age years. So my upcoming film is about that. I have been filming with him, and I want to film that in juxtaposition to life in Nablus, the nowadays life, and how does it speak to what he has lived or not? I mean, that would be the central theme. Another documentary I'm working on is about a famous architect in Jordan. His name is Rasim Badran, and we have done a short film together 20 years ago. This time, he has a wealthy portfolio as an architect, and his work really focuses on organic architecture and how architecture is really a place that carries the history as well as the identity of people. So, and he's also a storyteller in his architecture. So it's very interesting also to tackle that aspect of identity in architecture as well. So I'm excited about these two projects.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me, how does the funding work for the documentaries, let's say? One last question? Yeah. Okay.
How do I find? I mean, it's difficult to run and find something. I would say it's what occupies your mind, what you keep thinking of. It's you trying to find answers for yourself, not necessarily presenting them in the documentary. Mm-hmm. So whatever is occupying my mind is or triggers my curiosity, it's the subject matter of my upcoming documentary, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.